Okay, quick little video on V3. So it's just like the same framework and all that, but it's just like about the entry. You can like go back and read all this because I'm not doing all that. But basically, the idea is to just like maximize the precision of the initial breaker. So instead of waiting for Mandy V1 or V2, we could just either limit the breaker, which is like just limiting the breaker. It's not like no entry model, nothing, just limiting the breaker if like stop loss is good. But V3 is just like instead of limiting the breaker and like taking such a big risk and like having such a big stop loss usually, you could just use time frame alignment in the second chart to go onto the like the 15-second usually and bank off an entry trigger, like a high probability entry trigger. So I'm gonna go over some data examples and I have this mock-up and then I'm gonna show an on chart example. Okay, so here, uh, yeah, I said a whole bunch of stuff that's probably pretty important. Not saying all that though. But anyway, here, um, this level, we're reacting off of. Okay, so bias is like the same as usual. Not going over all that. I have other videos, but standard deviation is goated. So that's just something I need to always remember. Anyway, this level was a 4-hour FEGCE and a soup of a 15-minute low. So we just go into the 1 minute. We see the breaker cook. I mean the breaker form. So we mark our deviation, and our deviation aligns with what our bias tells us, with what we want our outlook to be, and we can either limit the start of the 1 minute breaker, so which would be like right here where my cursor is, and you could just like put stop loss right there, or with V3 you can wait for the 1 minute breaker to be hit, and like preferably mitigating EQ like this, like probably hit EQ of this current leg right here, and you would just take a 15-second entry trigger after the 1 minute breakers hit, and yeah, stop loss wherever it makes sense, and you just bank. And the reason that, oh shoot, what the hell, what I do? Okay, the reason that this would like, the whole reason I wanted this, okay, I'm not even clicking anything, but it's moving, but it's all good. But the whole reason I wanted to like look into this, and like the reason I like started looking closer into the chart, and how I noticed that this happened like a lot of times, is because I would look and wait for my entry model on the 1 minute, but typically we would just hit the breaker like without hitting EQ. We would just hit the breaker and instantly fly. So using an entry model like this would greatly increase trade frequency, and since we can keep the precision of the initial breaker, and we can just bank off that, no bap. Because in recent conditions, market conditions, we like tend to not really retrace as much and as cleanly as other times, so we could just adapt with this entry style. And yeah, so like here on this 15-second, we have this whole retrace, this whole entry trigger, but on the 1 minute, we literally just form the breaker after these couple candles. We touch it without like mitigating EQ, without giving like a very good entry model, and we just fly. So this 15-second time frame alignment is very high probable with time frame alignment and with just trade awareness, like after mitigating EQ and all that. And yeah, we could just keep the precision with a good entry, maximizing RR. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so here we have a 15. We're reacting off a 15-minute order block. Soup these like relative equal highs. It's just like a continuation trade. We had, oh yeah, I said it right here. We have a bear high time frame standard deviation, so I want lower. We use this 15-minute order block as a continuation, and on the 1 minute we form this fat juicy breaker. Then on the 15-second, we're just sitting here waiting for us to hit the 1 minute breaker, and we draw EQ, so like to have that trade awareness. Then we see us retrace onto EQ. This is the current leg, by the way, like this high to this low, because I don't have it like on the tool. But yeah, we mitigate EQ. We touch, like, this is the precision I'm talking about. We literally hit the breaker like at the very tip of the foreskin, and then we just fall instantly. But yeah, on the 50 second we hit EQ, the 1 minute breaker, and then we could just wait for an entry trigger. And here it was a this CISD. When we close past this, you could just probably just mark your order because you're not probably not gonna have time to like limit and all that and set stop and TP beforehand. But yeah, I forward tested this. The entry I took was like somewhere down here, and I got stopped on this leg up. But yeah, it happens. This leg up was low-key gay, but yeah, well, V3 cooked instead of my entry, so data is data. So that's another example. Then here we have on the same day, by the way, we hit -1 with the deviation, so we expect a retrace. We hit 0.62 as well as a 15-minute something. Yeah, 15-minute FEG. You can like kind of like see, it doesn't even matter. I'm just going over this really quickly. So we have this as well as the soup of this 1 minute high. This is a 1 minute breaker. This is a 15-second chart, obviously, but you're just gonna have to trust that it's a 1 minute breaker right here. We form it, and here we form it right here on this like tiny close under it, and then we come back up. And the reason that we don't like look for a entry trigger right after like we touch it or like we just limit it is because of trade awareness, like, or like positioning. We just want to like maximize like our safety net and get a higher entry so that we can have a lower point stop loss so that it can fit our risk management rules. So here I just wait for it to. I mean I didn't take it, but you could just wait for EQ to be hit so that whenever you do entry trigger, you have less stop loss points. Like here it was 20.25 points, but if you enter like at the start right here, it will be like 30 or something crazy like that because volatility was high, and it is high recently. So yeah, just that trade awareness is also like very good, but that's not really something you can like teach indefinitely. But yeah, we got this 50-second entry after hitting EQ. Very, very nice. Stop loss right there. We could just TP to -4 because we're bearish on the day. And yeah, this is very horny TP, but very high probability as well as this 15-second thing. So yeah, that's another example. And then last data collected example, we have this. Oh man, this just looks so perfect. We have a 1 minute hindsight deviation. Just really just looking for any deviation that aligns with our hot zone right here, which is EQ, 15-minute CISD, 15-minute FEG. There was also 10 a.m. open. I probably wrote it somewhere here. Not reading all that though. And yeah, once we respect this 15-minute continuation level, we wait on the 1 minute and to get our breaker, and we get it right here with this and with this leg down. We come up, we hit EQ, and here on this candle, I don't know if I can't zoom in more, but we have this FEG, this sliver of FEG that got inversed right here, so we could just enter right here. And even though we like low-key pump up hella crazy, we're still in the trade because our stop is safely on this 15-second wick high that mitigated EQ and of the current range and this whole range actually. But yeah, that wick is very nice and protected because we mitigated EQ of the whole 15-second range as well as the 1 minute time frame aligned breaker. So we could just enter off that 15-second inverse, and even though we get the scare, we immediately flood down to our deviation and hit TP. Just pause if you want to. Okay, so basically it's just like this. This is like kind of the whole like schematic. We wait for, I mean, time frame. The time like isn't like so like strict. It could be like any time frame PD array and things of that nature, of course. But I just like really like the 4-hour PD array, 15-minute time frame alignment, 1 minute time frame alignment with the breaker, and 15-second entry. That's like preferred because 15 second is very nice. I also like the 1 minute because I can like look at that in trading view, and I could just enter on top step or something. But it's fractal. It always works. But you wait for high time frame PD array to be hit. You wait for the second time frame. What's it? Wait, is it even called second time? I don't know. You wait for the time frame alignment breaker to be formed, which is in this case will be the 1 minute. So let me just write that real quick. 1 minute. I got a new keyboard. That's for you poggers. Yeah, high time frame in this case. High time frame in this case the 15 minute, but high time frame PDRA, time frame alignment, breaker, and then once we hit that breaker on the even deeper time frame alignment, which would probably be the second chart, we wait for an entry trigger that's aligned with trade positioning. I don't know if this is EQ because I just do it instantly. Probably OT. Yeah. Oh damn, very sexy. So yeah, with that trade positioning, we wait for entry trigger. On the 15 second in this scenario, enter off that John. Stop right here on the low that mitigated. The trade positioning level like OTE, EQ, whatever it may be, and the one that's respecting the 1 minute breaker in this case. And yeah, that's basically like the whole like schematic of V3. Um, I'm on EU. Not gonna lie, I saw this example like in 2 seconds, but it just didn't like come across in my head that I can't use the second chart on EU because I'm like it's not futures and I can't like use Top Step for it. And I'm poor, so I'm not like I don't have it on TradingView, but it's fine. You could just like get the gist from it. So just real quick, I just hindsighted all this. This is just pure example, but we have a deviation lower, and we expect us to at least hit retraced into this. There's probably like a higher time frame deviation that can provide this retrace, but anyway, we just look for a retrace on EQ of this whole range. Yeah, right there. So we're bullish, so to say, and here we get this 15-minute inverse right there, and we form it, and then we quickly come down and mitigate it. We also hit. Let me like scale lower. We also mitigated EQ. Let me see if it's like EQ of the whole range though. Let's find out together. Okay, wrong one. Oh, nope, I'm gay. All good. Oh, I'm gay. Difficulties. But yeah, we mitigate EQ as well as the 15-minute continuation PDRA higher. We get this 1 minute breaker and we form it right here. And with trade positioning, we mitigate EQ as well as this. This is like a perfect, picture perfect, like Mandy if you want, even though you don't get the, I mean, V1, V2. If you like, I mean, there wasn't really a good entry trigger after this, but you know, you get the gist. You could just like also limit the breaker, TP on max reversal, and bank with stop loss like under this protected low. I don't know how pips work though, so this might be like a super massive stop loss, but it's fine. In this case, you can only like limit the breaker, and yeah, but V3, since like we like literally touched like the very foreskin of this breaker, it like typically wouldn't give us like the best entry, like if we were just using V1 or V2. So in this scenario, you would go to the 15 second, and we already have this whole thing mitigated. EQ, 1 minute breaker. So on 15 second, we just look for the entry trigger. Probably, most definitely, most likely, probably CISD. We would just enter like I don't know, somewhere random, somewhere along those lines. Stop loss on that low that respected the breaker, and we can just bankroll right here off that. I could just like put it on my draw, and then yeah, I would definitely get break even here, but you get the point. It still works, and then we could just bank. Yep. And yeah, that's V3 for you. And I'm hungry as balls. Got a new keyboard. Pretty fire. Sneak peek of the outlook. Okay, yeah. Bye bye.